Well, hello everybody. My name is Cody. I'm the lead developer on the eSchoolDocs team, and in this video, we're going to demonstrate the updated logs list page that was released in eSchoolDocs version 6. This logs list page has been updated quite a bit from what it was previously, and I'm personally really excited to share it with you guys. So let's go ahead and look at eSchoolDocs here. And the way we can get to this page, there's actually multiple ways. So the first way is the way you would get to the old page, this logs link here on your home page. You can also get to it through the calendar. So if I go to the calendar, it's going to default to the current week. I've got nothing in this week yet. But if I click on the logs list from here, it's going to use the date that's selected, and when I click on it, it's going to automatically use the first day of that month and the last day of that month as my from and to dates up here at the top. So what we're seeing here, again, it's similar to the calendar page. I've got a user box, so I can select the user that I want to look at. If I'm a normal user, a normal speech therapist, for example, not a supervisor or a lead therapist, then my name is going to be the only one that's available here. But if I'm a lead, then I'll be able to see any other providers that I'm responsible for in my district or my county. If I'm a supervisor, then I'll be able to see any other assistants that I'm responsible for in this list, so that I can see their logs as well. And this from and to date picker, this defaults to the current month that I'm in. So it defaults to the first day of that month and the last day of that month. But that's just, we're not limited to that. I can go all the way back to July 1st. And now I'm looking at 2 months worth of logs. So July 1st all the way to August 31st. I can go even further. I can go to June 1st to August 31st. It's going to automatically go back and refetch all those logs and all those entries that fit within this time frame. So let's go ahead and jump into this page specifically. So the core parts of this page, we got what I already discussed up here at the top. We've got our user picker and our from and to date. This is a link to get back to the calendar, so if we want to jump to the calendar from here, this is a link to do that. Then we got this Write New Log button up here on the top right that gives us the options to schedule new therapy events, to start a therapy log, to write an evaluation log, or to write a TCM log, because the user I'm logged in as is a speech therapist but also a case manager, so I can write TCM logs as well. If I was an occupational therapist or a physical therapist, really any user that isn't associated with case management or targeted case management, this option would not be available to me. But now that we're past that, here in this main section, the body of this page, we've got just a list of all the logs that fit within that time frame. And by default, it's showing me all the pages. So there's 49 entries, so there's 5 pages worth of stuff here. And then, but I can change that if I want to look at 20 items per page. I can change that here. And now I've only got 3 pages worth of entries, and it's showing me more information. It depends on really what you want there. I'm going to go back to 50, or back to 10 just for demonstration purposes. And this has provided me a lot of information here for each row that I'm looking at. So it's going to tell me, first off, a status. So this is going to be, if you've watched the calendar video, these status icons are going to be exactly what you already know from the calendar. So the purple check mark means that not only has this log been completed, but it's also been submitted for billing. And if I hover over that, it tells me that. This is a 504 log. If I hover over it, the green check mark means that it's been completed, but 504 logs cannot be submitted for billing. So that's as far as this log can go. But if we go back in the past, maybe we'll see, yeah, these hollow green check marks. This is an indication to me that this is a TCM log that has been completed, but it hasn't been submitted for billing yet. And TCM is a bit interesting because as a TCM provider, I can write a TCM log and I can complete it, but it's up to my biller for my district or my county in order to actually submit it for billing. So in this case, there's really no more action that I can take here as the TCM provider. It's up to my county biller to take it from here, and if I click on this log, it's not going to give me a submit for billing button because that's not up to me, that's up to my biller. But it does give me, it tells me that it's finalized. I can't edit anything anymore. I can revert it back to draft if I want to make some kind of change, and then recomplete it before it gets to my biller. But we'll go ahead and close this for now. So, and again, green and purple, I mentioned this in the calendar video. If a icon is a solid color, meaning solid purple, solid green, that's an indication to me that there's nothing more I can do here. That it's fine. I can just leave it alone. If it's a hollow green. In this case, again, this is TCM, which is a bit unique. It's up to my biller to take these further. But if I was looking at an IEP log that was a hollow, let's use this one. So let's unsubmit this one for billing. And let's close this again. Notice that this IEP log is a hollow green color, and when I hover over it, it says this log has been completed and awaiting submission. And now I can go in here and I can submit that for billing. And now when I go back, it's a hollow purple. And actually, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to unsubmit this guy again, and we'll come back to this here in a second. But let's move forward here. So we're getting the status indicators that we're already familiar with from the calendar. Some other ones that we maybe haven't seen yet. We've got this IEP log. And this is a scheduled therapy event. And I talked a bit about this in the calendar video. This is a new type of log that's introduced in eSchoolDocs version 6. It's not a treatment log yet, and it's not an absent note yet. It's something that's on the calendar, but it hasn't been realized yet, meaning it's a potential to be a treatment log or an absent note. But it's not. It's just on the calendar. I haven't done anything more with it. So this is saying that this log has been scheduled, but it's not an absent note. It's not a treatment log, but it's on the schedule. And so beyond that, while we're here, I can click on any of these dates and times in order to edit that. We already saw that a minute ago, but I can click on this particular scheduled therapy event. And when I click on it, this is the same exact pop-up that I saw from on the calendar. And if you watch the calendar video, this should be very familiar to you. And so from here, I can do lots of things. I can start the treatment log from it. I can mark it as an absent note, or I can just delete it completely so that this occurrence removes itself from my calendar. Or I can just close the pop-up if I don't want to act on it now. But let's go ahead and start a treatment log from this. It's going to go ahead and what this does behind the scenes is it converts the scheduled therapy event to an IEP treatment log. And so I can go ahead and close this. And now notice that I'm not seeing that scheduled icon anymore. This is just now a draft treatment log. But I can go in here and I can write some stuff in here, save it, finalize it, close it. I've got the green check mark indicating to me that it's been completed. There's nothing more I can do. Different types of logs. Every different type of log, when I click on the date and the time, it's going to show me the respective editor for that type of log. So I've got this evaluation for Nora. Again, evaluations are new types of logs that were added as of eSchoolDocs version 6. But I can click on this, and now I've got the evaluation log editor. I can submit it for billing from here. I can delete it from here. Anything that I would want to do in order to interact with this evaluation, I can do from this pop-up. The same way that I could do from the calendar. Again, in eSchoolDocs version 6, I can now interact with different types of logs from really anywhere in the application. I don't have to go to the session editor in order to edit a treatment log or an absent note. I don't have to go to the TCM log editor page in order to edit a TCM log. Now just about anything that I can edit or interact with, I can interact with directly from the page that I'm on. So this means I don't have to leave the flow that I'm in. Maybe I see something about this IEP absent note that I don't like. It's not going to redirect me to the treatment session editor in order to edit this absent note. I can do it directly from the pop-up, and then when I close that, it's going to update its state directly in this list without having to redirect me or anything like that, which we think is super helpful. So beyond the date and time, clicking on this date and time is going to open the editor or the viewer for that respective log for me. It's also going to give me some information about the type of log that I'm looking at, as you can guess. So these are IEP logs. I've got an evaluation log. I've got some 504 logs, some steps logs, some TCM logs. And we'll add new types of logs to this page in the future as we add new types of logs. But for now, that's what we've got here. The next bit of information is the student name. All these logs currently that are on this list are logs that are associated with just one student. Moving forward, when we add like supervision logs, whether those be direct or indirect, the subject of those logs will be the assistant rather than a student. So this will be a bit different depending on the type of log that we're looking at. Right now, these are all student logs, so what we're seeing student names. If I click on these, it'll take me to the student profile. And I can go back just by clicking that back button to the logs list page. Next, it's showing me the county that this student was in and the school that this student was in, or more specifically, that this log was associated with, because a student may transfer at any point in time. And it's important that the log that I'm targeting, that within the log that it's targeting the correct county and the correct school. And this is especially relevant for billable logs. I want to make sure that I'm always billing for the right county and the right school. Okay, so let's go back let's expand this to June 1st to August 31st. Um, and let's talk a bit about this section over here on the left. And this is really the meat and potatoes of this page. And um, this is brand new as of this new version of this log list page. And this is providing lots of things that eSchoolDocs has been lacking in the past. In particular, lots of visibility, lots of questions that can be answered from this section over here on the left. So right away we're seeing that in this given date period there were 49 total entries that were displayed that eSchoolDocs is aware of, that we've entered information in for, and that's going to total 993 minutes. So in 3 months, June, July, August, the whole expanse of each of those months. Across 3 months, I did 993 minutes, which is maybe pretty good for summertime. But then I can also see a list of different things that's telling me by county, by school, by student, date, and so on. And I'm calling these aggregation groups. And if I expand one of these, it's going to give me a bit of information. So here I can see that within these 3 months, I worked in 2 different counties. And it's going to tell me Barber and Kanawha. And most of my time is spent in Barber in this case. And I can really easily see that. Most of my time is spent in Barber, a little bit in Kanawha County. Again, this is just demonstration purposes. And if I go by school, it's going to tell me each school that I worked in. So in this case, I worked in 2. These are both Barber County Elementary Schools, and Ruthlawn, as I'm an alumni of, is showing up here as the Kanawha County School that I worked in. Notice this is the 45 minutes, 2 entries, 45 minutes, 2 entries. Now, that makes sense because Ruthlawn was the only Kanawha County school that I worked in. Whereas in Barber County, for example, I worked in 2 different counties, so these minutes and entries are divided between these 2. And it goes even further by student. I did work for 9 different students during this time period. And I can even go by date. So this is showing me that I worked on 26 unique dates. Let me minimize some of these other things for now, just so we can see all that easier. And notice there's a couple weird things. Like, for example, this one's got negative minutes. We'll talk about that in a second. But show me individual dates that I worked on. So this will be super helpful if I'm wondering, like, well, when did I actually work? What dates? This is where I can see exactly that information. It goes even further by day of week. So for each day of the week that I worked on, it's going to, across that whole 3-month period, I can see, well, I do most of my work on Wednesdays, and I don't really do much on Thursdays. We can see, again, all that from a glance. By time of day even, so before 8 a.m., I do quite a bit of work. Most of my work is before 8 and 9. So on even after 5 p.m. And maybe this is an indication to you that if I've got stuff going on after 5 p.m., then maybe that was a mistake in my data entry. And same before 8 a.m. Maybe these shouldn't be here. These should be in this. But this is a good way to easily see at a glance that all this kind of summary information. Even by event length. So if I've got something less than 0 minutes, that doesn't make any sense. And again, this is that same log that we saw earlier that was negative 15 minutes, and we'll touch on that here in a second. But this is a good way for me to see, like, this is wrong, like something's wrong here. This shouldn't be there. I shouldn't have any event that's less than 0 minutes. Also by log type, so we can see we do a lot of IEP logs. We do a decent amount of TCM, some 504, some steps, and some evals. So we can see all that again from a glance, and by billability. So this is super helpful for me to make sure that I've got nothing that is billable that I haven't billed yet. So I've got 3 different sections here. I've got 3 entries that are billable that haven't been billed. I have billed 4 entries that were billable previously, so they were billable, and I have billed them. And then I've got some pending entries. This is really going to be up to, this is for TCM mostly, where it's up to my biller to make sure that those get billed. It's not really, the ball has how do you say? The ball has left my court. In this case, it's up to my biller now. But one unique thing about this is that as I expand these and I'm hovering over one of these options, I can actually click on them, and this is going to filter the list for me. So now I can see that this has been updated. When I click on it, notice I've got this little filter icon, and Kanawha goes away, but then also Ruthlawn goes away, and now I'm seeing 8 students instead of 9. Now I'm seeing less date groups. these, and now I'm missing my steps log. Apparently what I did in Kanawha County was a steps log. So when I click one of these filters, it's going to filter not just the list over here on the right. So notice I've got less entries available on this list. It's a bit hard to tell based on what I've selected. But then I've got this filter up here. It's telling me the county. There's a county filter that's active, and then Barber County is the one that I've selected. But let's say I want to drill down even further. Now that I'm looking at everything just by Barber County, I can now drill in by school. So now I've got BC Elementary. Let's say I want to look at that. And now notice these items are dwindling even further. I've got 2 filters that are active now. I've only got about 15 entries that are available to me. Again, notice I can see that very easily here. 15 entries for 310 total minutes that I'm seeing over here on the right. And now let's say that I only want to see stuff that I did on Monday. So now I've got 3 logs, and then let's say I only want to see the IEP stuff I did on any of those Mondays. So notice I've got July 15th, June 24th. These are Mondays. And let's go ahead and deselect that. Let's say that I only want to see stuff that happen between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. I can do that. And now let's say that I want to... Let's clear these filters, and there's multiple ways that I can clear the filters. I can either clear individual filters by clicking on this. So this is just a toggle. I'm activating the filter, deactivating the filter. Or I can click up here to deactivate an individual filter. Click this. Again, that removes that one filter. Or I can clear all the filters if I got more than one by clicking this Clear Filters button. So now I'm looking at everything again. But let's say that, again, I'm looking at this date range. I want to make sure that everything that is billable that I've logged has been billed. And so we can immediately tell that. If we go down to the, let me minimize all these. If we go down to by billability, we do see that we've got 3 billable entries. If I click on that, I'm now only looking at logs that are billable. So now I can click on this IEP log. I'm going to go ahead and submit that for billing. And now notice I've only got 2 logs, so that goes away. I've got this eval. Let's say I'm not ready to submit that one yet, but this one, sure, let's go ahead and submit that for billing. And do that again. Notice I've only got 1 entry that's available now. And actually, just for demonstration purposes, we'll go ahead and submit this one too. And now notice that there's no items that match any of my filters anymore, and it tells me that. So I can clear the filters that I had selected, and it'll show me everything again. Notice now that I've got no billable items. Everything has been billed. There are some pending things. Those are all going to be TCM related. I'm just waiting on my biller to take care of that for me. Okay. So hopefully this has been a good demonstration about what we're really going for with this screen. So not only can you see all the logs that are available from any given date range, from any from date to any to date, and you can even see a whole year's worth of logs very quickly this way. And so now I've got 126 entries that have been logged in this year. Again, this is a demo account with demonstration data. You'll likely have a lot more entries than that. A lot of minutes, and again, it's going to aggregate immediately all this information for me, so it's very easy for me to see all the students that I've worked in on that year, all the individual dates that I've worked in that year, and so on and so forth. And let's really quick tackle that example where this less than 0 minutes. This is again helpful. This is an indication to me that I've maybe logged something wrong. I can go ahead and click on that to just get that one event, 11:30 to 11:15. That doesn't make any sense. So I can click on that. Now I want to edit that to be 11:45 a.m. I save that. Now notice it went away. I've got nothing that's less than 0 minutes now, but I've got one now that's between, or several that are now between 10 and 15 minutes. That one that I just edited should not be in that list. What else can we talk about? So yeah, again, this is going to show me lots of information, lots of aggregated data. This is something that we feel like eSchoolDocs has unfortunately been lacking for a long time. Just being able to see a long range of logs, a lot of information, and then aggregations of all of that information that are very easy to access, very easy to get down to the nuts and bolts of what exactly I want to look at, to then just make my life easier. And this has been designed to work hand in hand with the calendar page and the daily agenda page. So I talked about this a little bit before, but the daily agenda page mostly focuses on one individual day's worth of logs, one individual day's worth of work. So it's dialing you in so that you can crank out all the work that you need to do just for that day. If you've got your schedules in place, then it should be really easy. Every day you just log into eSchoolDocs, you go to your daily agenda, and you just go through that list of stuff. And if you've got your schedules in place and you're sure that you've set it up correctly so that you're going to meet each individual kid in your caseload, that you're going to meet those minutes as long as you follow that schedule, then that's all you really have to do once your schedules are set up. And we're really excited to provide that to you guys. But then also, when you're in the scheduling mode, you might want to go to the calendar, where then you can drag services from your caseload summary over on the left. You can drag that to individual time slots on the right onto the calendar itself to then schedule all those events and get your calendar in place. And then if you want to review everything that you've done, make sure that nothing's fallen off the list there. That the example we gave in this tutorial was billable logs. You want to make sure that everything has been billed that can be billed. Then you can use this page for that sort of thing. So again, daily agenda is hyper-focused on one day. The calendar is hyper-focused on getting your schedule in place, and the logs list page is hyper-focused on making it easy for you to see over large expanses of time all kinds of information that then you can review everything and make sure that everything's in order and make sure that nothing has fallen through the cracks there. So again, if you have any questions about this, hopefully I've explained not just how this page works, but the motivations behind it, how the daily agenda, the logs list, and the calendar are kind of like the three balls that you're juggling, that you're thinking about as a therapist as you're working in eSchoolDocs. Those are going to be your three main places that you're going to get lots of your work done, and hopefully that it is, we designed it so that it's effective for you, and that you can get all your work done, you can spend more time with your families in the evenings. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about in this video. We thank you guys for your time and for your attention. God bless you guys, and hope you all have a great rest of your day.